Okay, some more applications of the Bernoulli's theorem. First, eighth one already 7 applications are completed. Next, aerodynamic lift, that is the 8th application. Here we know, in case of wings of the aeroplane, in case of aircraft wings, if you observe the cross section of the aircraft wings, they are specially designed. They are specially designed. Suppose you see, the aircraft wing is designed like this. The aircraft wing is designed, the cross section of the aircraft wing is designed like that. The cross section of the aircraft wing is designed like this. Okay, then suppose if the aircraft wing travel in this direction with the aircraft travel with a velocity v, then these wings also move along with the aircraft with the same velocity. But the air above the aircraft wing and below the aircraft wing. Here, suppose the air is steady. If the wing travel in this direction, then with respect to wing, the air particles moving in backward direction, no? Like this, no? The air particles moving over the surface of the wing like this. These all lines are streamlines. The path along which the air particles travel, they are called streamlines. So in this way, the air particles travel in this direction, and at the bottom of the aircraft wing, the air particles travel like this. Almost all, of course, need not be straight line, curved path like this. Okay, so at the bottom of the aircraft wing, the air particles travel along this path. But here, at the bottom of the aircraft wing, here the cross section of the aircraft wing, when you observe cleanly, it is inclined. At the top of the aircraft wing, it is inclined like this. Because of that, the air particles, when reaches the aircraft wing, immediately they fly off with more velocity over this aircraft wing. That's why the velocity of the air particles are here more. So velocity of the air particles above the surface of the aircraft wing is say v1. Below the surface of the aircraft wing, the velocity of the air particles are somewhat less compared with this one, because it is flattened. As it is flattened, there is no change in the velocity of the air particles which are flowing at the bottom of the aircraft wing. But because of special shape designed to the aircraft wing at the top, the velocity of the air particles over the surface of the aircraft wing becomes increased. Due to that, velocity of the air particles above the surface of the wing is v1, below the surface of the wing is v2. Whenever the velocity of the air particles at the bottom of the aircraft wing is less, then pressure energy is more. That's why pressure at the bottom of the aircraft wing is more. Pressure at the bottom is more, and pressure at the top. Because of more velocity, kinetic energy is more. Whenever the kinetic energy is more, for the air particles are for air above the surface of the aircraft wing, pressure will be less. Here, as V1 greater than V2, P1 less than P2, according to Bernoulli's theorem. So, according to Bernoulli's theorem, of course, the height of the aircraft wing can be ignored because the aircraft is at far height from the surface of the earth. That's why this height can be neglected. So, at the bottom of the aircraft wing, whatever the potential energy, at the top of the aircraft wing is also potential energy same. Now, according to Bernoulli's theorem, at the top, pressure energy per unit volume is P1 plus kinetic energy per unit volume is half rho V1 square plus potential energy is same. You need not write, even you write, that will be cancelled. Rho ZH is equal to P2 pressure at the bottom. The total energy of the air particles at the bottom is equal to P2 plus half rho into V2 square plus potential energy per unit volume rho Z into H. Because this height is negligible when compared with the height of the aeroplane from the ground. Okay, that's why here rho ZH cancel. Then as P2 is greater, P2 minus P1 you write. P2 minus P1 is the pressure difference across the aircraft wing. So because of specially designed shape of the aircraft, cross section of the aircraft wing, it makes the pressure difference, it creates the pressure difference across the aircraft wing. Okay, that pressure difference across the aircraft wing P2 minus P1 is equal to half rho V1 square minus half rho V2 square. Okay, therefore This is equal to rho by 2 into V1 square minus V2 square. This is the pressure difference across the aircraft wing. Because of this pressure difference along vertical direction, because of this pressure P2, force acts on the aircraft wing at the bottom upwards. F2 is upwards. F1 is downwards. Okay, therefore, because F1 means here at the top, because of this pressure, force acts on the aircraft wing downwards. So net force F net is equal to pressure difference across the aircraft wing P2 minus P1 into area of span area. Span area means area, surface area of the aircraft wing at its bottom. The bottom surface area మొత్తం అంటే suppose as it is having two wings, total area of the aircraft wings at the bottom. That is called span area of the aircraft wing. Where A, span area of aircraft wings. Total area of the aircraft wings. Suppose if for one aircraft wing, if area is given, for two aircraft wings means 2A we have tried. But actually, they generally use as, they give as span area. Span area means total area of the aircraft wing at its bottom. On the bottom, because of pressure difference here, some force acts on them, which is equal to P2 minus P1 into A is equal to P2 minus P1 means this into A. So rho by 2 into V1 square minus V2 square into A. Okay, this is the formula for net force acts on the aircraft wing upwards as P2 is greater than P1. Okay, this is called aerodynamic lift. This is the aerodynamic lift. Aerodynamic lift, or it is also called as the lifting ability. Lifting ability of the aircraft wings. Lifting ability. So whatever the net force acts on the aircraft wings in upward direction, that amount of weight can be lifted, including weight of the aeroplane also. And the aeroplane weight, దాంట్లో ఉన్న passengers weight మొత్తం కలిపి ఈ lifting ability కి equal అవుతుంది. అంత weight ని ఇది lift చేయగలుగుతుంది. So because this is possible because of this this is possible because of, according to the Bernoulli's theorem only it was explained. Why the velocity of the air particles becomes greater than the velocity of the air particles at the bottom. Here, because of the streamline shape of the aircraft wings, this is called streamline shape. This curvature is called streamline shape. Streamline shape. So because of streamline shape of the aircraft wing at the top, immediately whenever the air particles reaches up to this point with same speed only, but whenever it reaches the aircraft wing, it has to move more distance before leave the aircraft wing as this particle at the bottom. But here more distance will travel in the same time. No? In order to travel the more distance over the surface of the aircraft wing, the speed of the air particles becomes increased. The speed of the air particles becomes increased. In other words, suppose here you see, because of this shape here, whenever the air particles reaches the position here, because of this particular shape, in this direction, speed of the air particles will be reduced. Immediately pressure increase. When pressure increase, the air particles are pushed very quickly in this direction. So velocity of the air particles increase over the surface of the aircraft wing. But at the bottom, there is no possibility to stop the velocity of the air particles at the bottom. It will travel with normal speeds only. Okay, Pankuma ready. Okay, so this is the aerodynamic lift. It is the aerodynamic lift or lifting ability of the aircraft wings. Lifting ability of the aircraft wings. Okay, next. Motion of the spinning ball in air. 9th one. Motion of spinning ball in air. So in this there are three cases. Motion of the spinning ball in air also works on the principle of the Bernoulli's theorem only. Anil Kumble, spin bowlers. Every spin bowler uses the concept of Bernoulli's theorem only. Every spin bowler, while throwing the ball, when they throw the ball, it makes rotations in the air and they reaches the bat. They reaches the wickets. Okay, that's why every spin bowler follows Bernoulli's theorem. Based on that concept only, they can able to spin the ball. Where the spin should be more, where spin should be less, they know well. Okay, such type of player only called as the spin bowler. Okay, in cricket field. So motion of the spinning ball. First of all, suppose there is no rotation in the ball. There is no rotation in the ball. So this is the ball, say. It is a cricket ball. Okay, it is projected with a velocity, say v, in forward direction, in air. Then, because of this shape of the air, ball, then air particles when reaches the ball, immediately they changes the direction of motion like this and they travel like this. As the shape of the ball above and below both are same, then the velocity of air particles are same above and below the surface of the ball, like this. That's why the streamlines are equidistant at the top and bottom. Streamlines ante air particles ఏ path లో travel చేస్తున్నాయో ఆ path. They are called streamlines. So at the above and below the ball, the velocity of the air particles are same. The velocity of the air particles are same. Suppose ఇక్కడ velocity v1, ఇక్కడ velocity v2 అనుకోండి. v1, v2 both are equal. v1 v2 both are equal. Okay. So whenever v1, v2 both are equal, then pressure at the bottom of the ball, pressure at the top of the ball. According to Bernoulli's principle, this height can be neglected when compared with the thickness of the air column. Okay. That's why whenever velocities are equal, then pressures at the top and bottom also equal according to Bernoulli's theorem. According to Bernoulli's theorem. That's why whenever the pressures are same, due to pressure at the bottom, upward force acts. Due to pressure at the top, downward force acts. But both are equal. That's why net force acts on the ball along vertical direction becomes 0. So the ball travel continuously along the horizontal straight line. Okay. It is the case whenever ball has no spin motion and only translative motion. When the ball has only translative motion. If the ball has only spin motion, what happens? If the ball has only spin motion, what happens? If the ball has only spin motion, what happens? So B. Here it is the case whenever ball has only translatory motion. Translatory motion only. When ball has rotatory motion only or spin motion only. Ball has rotatory or spin motion only. So when the ball has only rotative motion or spin motion only, there is no translator motion. That means the ball cannot move in forward. The ball will not move along forward direction. Only at the same place ball rotates. Only at the same place ball rotates. Suppose here, this is the ball. Okay, here this ball rotates in clockwise direction with angular velocity omega. Therefore, at the top of the ball, the velocity of the particle is equal to r omega. At the bottom, at the top, the velocity of the particle on the surface of the ball is say v. At the bottom, the velocity is in this along tangential direction in this direction, that is also equal to v. V is equal to r omega. Here also r omega. So now here this spinning ball is surrounded with air. No, spinning ball surrounded with air. So because of that, because of viscous force between the surface of the spinning ball and air, the air particles are dragged along with the air particles drags along with the ball in clockwise direction like this. That's why the air particles travel along the circular path like this around the ball. Around the ball. So because of viscous drag or because of viscosity property between the ball and these air particles, the surface of the ball drags the air particles in this direction. So at this point, the velocity of the air particles say v. At the bottom of here also, velocity of the air particles v1. The ఎంత velocity ఇటువైపు మూవ్ అవుతుందో ఆ ఇన్స్టెంట్ అప్పుడు అదే వెలాసిటీతో ఈ పార్టికల్ కూడా డ్రాగ్ చేస్తుంది. ఇక్కడ వెలాసిటీ ఎంత ఉందో ఇక్కడ వెలాసిటీ అంతే ఉంటుంది. అంటే అన్ని at the top and bottom velocity is same. When velocity is same at the top and bottom, the pressure is also same. Pressure at this point and at this point both are same. So when the pressures are same, when pressures are same, there is no net force acts on the ball in vertical direction. There is no net force acts on the ball in vertical direction or horizontal direction also. Okay, so that's why net force is zero here. Net force is zero. Okay, this is the case of the purely spin motion of the ball. Suppose when ball is thrown, in case of spin bowler, the spin bowler throws the ball so that it is having some velocity and at the same time it is having some angular velocity also. That means in case of spin bowler, he throws the ball so that it is having translated motion as well as rotated motion. That is the peculiar property of the spin bowler. He throws the ball. In case of fast bowler, he throws the ball with velocity only. That means it is having only translated motion, no considerable rotated motion. But in case of spin bowler, the ball is having translated motion as well as spin motion also considerably. In such case, what happens? So see, when ball has translatory as well as rotatory motion or spin motion, rotatory motion, in brackets spin motion, that means spin bowling. This is the example for spin bowling. What happens? Okay, so here you see, suppose this is the ball. Okay, here it is projected in forward direction. It is projected in forward direction with a velocity say v. With a velocity v. Okay, then it is having spin motion. It is having spin motion with angular velocity omega in this direction. That means it is rotating in this direction, in anti-clockwise direction, and it is traveling forward direction. In such a way, the ball is thrown. Then what happens? Here, whenever the ball is having translated motion as well as rotated motion here, then when it is moving in air, then air particles, whenever the suppose as the ball is moving in this direction, when the air particle reaches the point here and here, what happens? What about the velocity of the air particle? Here we see, because of motion of the ball along this direction, this particle, with respect to ball, this particle is having velocity v in this direction. At the same time, as the ball is spinning in anti-clockwise direction, because of viscous force between the surface of the ball and the air particle, the surface of the ball drags the particle along the direction of rotation of the ball at this point. At this point, as the direction of rotation is in this direction, the linear velocity of the particle becomes v plus r omega. But at the lower point, because of velocity of the ball in forward direction, this particle is having velocity v in this direction, and at the same time, because of rotated motion at the bottom of the ball, the velocity of the ball due to spin motion is equal to r omega in this direction. Therefore, net velocity of the air particle below the ball becomes v minus r omega. Similarly, different particles are like this. So here, because of spin motion and as well as translated motion, the velocity of the air particles above the surface of the ball becomes greater and below the surface of the ball becomes smaller. Below the surface of the ball becomes smaller. Okay, here these streamlines are nearer to each other. These streamlines are farther to each other at the bottom and nearer to each other at the top because of more velocity. Okay, now you see here, whenever the ball travel in forward direction, the air exert the opposing force on the ball in forward direction. Along horizontal direction, some opposing force acts along horizontal direction, that is say FH. Because of, here you see, at the bottom, the velocity of the fluid particles is less. At the top, velocity of the fluid particles is more. That's why at the top pressure is say P1, at the bottom pressure is say P2. According to Bernoulli's theorem, P2 greater than P1. As here velocity is say V1, here velocity is say V2. As V1 greater than V2, then P1 less than P2. P1 less than P2 means along vertical direction because of pressure difference. As pressure at the bottom is more, resultant force acts on the ball due to pressure difference along vertically upward direction. So vertically upward direction force acts. The resultant of these two forces acts in between these two somewhere here. That is the net force. That is the net force. So here, in case of spin bowler, the ball is thrown into air such that its net force is towards the wickets. Its net force is towards the wickets. So because of the ball thrown in forward direction with the spin motion, the ball experiences the net force in one direction. Such effect is called the Magnus effect. This effect is called Magnus effect. This effect is called Magnus effect. Here you see, in case of spin bowling, whenever not only pure spin bowling, in case of a spin bowler, when the ball is thrown into air towards the wickets with a spin motion, then the ball experiences the resultant force in one direction, whereas the velocity of the ball is in another direction. So here spin bowler practice the bowling such that the net force is towards the wickets. Net force towards the wickets ఉండేట్టుగా. It is having spin motion. About the own axis it rotates. It is having rotating motion only. As it rotates about the own axis, that motion is called spin motion also. Bala Aditya. It is not particle, no? The axis of rotation passing through body only. That's why it is having rotating motion. About the own axis only, about the natural axis only, as the ball rotates, this motion is called spin motion also. This motion is called spin motion also. Okay, here spin bowler practices to throw the ball so that this net force is towards the wickets when this ball reaches nearer to the wickets. అంటే బాల్ ని త్రో చేసినప్పుడు బాల్ వికెట్స్ దగ్గరికి వెళ్లే లోపు ఈ నెట్ ఫోర్స్ అనేది టువర్డ్స్ ద వికెట్ ఉండేట్టుగా అతను ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తాడు. టువర్డ్స్ వికెట్స్ ఉండేట్టుగా ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తాడు. అట్లా చేయటం వల్ల బాల్ అని ఈ డైరెక్షన్ లో మూవ్ అవుతుంటే ఫోర్స్ వేరే డైరెక్షన్ ఉంది కాబట్టి ఆ వికెట్స్ whenever the ball reaches the wickets immediately because of this net force acts on the ball due to Magnus effect. బాల్ ఇటువైపు మూవ్ అవుతుంది కాబట్టి బ్యాట్ ఇటు పెడతాడు. కానీ ఫోర్స్ వేరే డైరెక్షన్ లో పనిచేస్తుంది కాబట్టి బిఫోర్ ద బాల్ రీచెస్ ద వికెట్స్ ఇమీడియట్లీ దే చేంజెస్ ద డైరెక్షన్ ఆఫ్ మోషన్ అండ్ ట్రావెల్ టువర్డ్స్ ద వికెట్స్. అప్పుడు ఇమీడియట్ గా సడన్ గా బ్యాట్ ని చేంజ్ చేయలేదు కాబట్టి స్పిన్ బౌలింగ్ వల్ల డేంజర్ అనేది అది. బికాస్ ఆఫ్ Magnus effect we cannot assess in which direction the ball travels. That is the advantage of the spin bowler. This particular effect is called the Magnus effect. So Magnus effect is also because of the Bernoulli's theorem. Okay, these are the applications of the Bernoulli's theorem. Of course, next ninth one, atomizer. Atomizer works on the principle of, already I said atomizer is the device to produce charged drops. Produce charged oil drops. Charged oil drops. Works on the principle of, to produce charged oil drop, it works on the principle of Bernoulli's theorem. Next, air compressor, perfume sprayer or perfume sprayer. Perfume sprayer works on the principle of Bernoulli's theorem. Next, 11th one, sometimes whenever cyclones occurs, the roof of the huts fly off, no? Whenever cyclones occurs, the roof of the sprayer also, perfume sprayer or simply sprayer, that also works on the principle of Bernoulli's theorem. Next, whenever cyclones occur, sometimes in case of huts, the roof of the huts will be blown off, no? The roof of the huts will be blown off. Roof of huts blown off. You see, suppose the roof of the huts are like this. It is the hut. During cyclone, as the shape of the roof is like this, then air particles moving over the surface of the above the roof of the huts, the velocity of the air particles is more. కానీ ఈ విండో ఓపెన్ చేసినప్పుడు, డోర్ ఓపెన్ చేసినప్పుడు దీని లోపల ఎయిర్ పార్టికల్స్ వెళ్ళినప్పుడు బికాస్ ఆఫ్ ద walls are there, the velocity of the air particles are stopped by the walls. Whenever air particles are stopped, immediately kinetic energy is lost. According to Bernoulli's theorem, whenever kinetic energy is lost, then that is converted into pressure energy, so that the pressure inside the room becomes larger. The pressure inside the room becomes larger, but outside the this building, outside the hut, or the surface of the roof, as the velocity of the air particles are greater, and inside the room, inside the hut, as the velocity is smaller, the pressure at the inside the roof, the pressure at the bottom of the roof inside the room is more, and above the roof it is less. That's why there is a net force acts on the roof. The net force across the roof acts vertically upward direction. So due to that, the roof will be blown off some now and then. So that is because of Bernoulli's theorem. Okay. So in this way, we can say different examples which works on the principle of Bernoulli's theorem. Okay, right. Now we will discuss some problems.